In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the PvP matchup against Rumble. And then right after, I'll be talking about how I went from losing a 1v1 against a 28 million bounty player to learning his habits, adapting, and beating him. While we're using these duels to recruit for our 1v1 tournament, we're also trying to improve our skill sets ourselves. And to do so, we have to break down each matchup. If you like this series, make sure to leave a like. And don't forget to comment to enter into this video's Perm Fruit giveaway. Now remember, our goal is to level up our PvP skills in order to foster a tournament circuit with consistent prize pools. Since we're new to the space, we're by no means experts at Blox for PvP.
You suck.
We're trying to just leverage the analytical skills we've used to improve and become fighting game professionals to see if we could take this to Blox Fruits and achieve the same goals. So don't just watch us, but help us grow. If you want to be in one of our next 1v1 showcases, let us know in-game or even in the comments. But let's dive right into the action with our first match against a Rumble user, Selna Gums. Now, Selna's a good friend of mine, super good at fighting games, FPS experience, as you can see here. He knows his way around a keyboard and mouse. And so this should be a good fight. All right, let's go ahead and break it down. We got a Rumble user using Godhuman, CDK, and Soul Guitar. Let's start off with Rumble and all those options. It's a super mobile fruit that has 3 extra flash steps with their Rumble F. 10-second cooldown for each of the flash steps, and they can even use it in air, unlike the normal flash step. And Rumble is notorious for the different openings that they have that mostly break instant, but they all have a noticeable startup lag. Rumble X, the strongest opener. 12 to 13-second cooldown with a 0.7-second delay where they're locked in the animation. This can be used in the air as well, and the stun will drop from above onto the ground and stun everybody in the area. Rumble C, crazy range, has a lot of startup lag. 19-second cooldown and it knocks you up when you get hit. Rumble V is pretty interesting. Huge hitbox, huge startup, long range, but a 32-second cooldown. It's used really to cover yourself or to hard read your opponent and get them stuck and then starting a combo. And then lastly, we have Rumble Z. Shoots a dragon, but doesn't really do too much outside of that. It's mostly just for poke. Now, the rest of the kit we're already familiar with, but let's quickly break it down. Godhuman C, super strong opener, especially when charged, and starts combos very well, very consistently, very easily. Godhuman X, nice poke. It sends you up predictably so you can lead different combos. Now, big shout out to Gilfie on YouTube. Remember, with Rumble specifically, Godhuman C can be chained into Godhuman Z if they leverage their Rumble F, their Rumble flash step. So take note, when Godhuman C comes, you might be able to Kentrick a Godhuman Z from there. CDK Z is decent for poking, but Kentrickable, so not ideal to throw out in neutral. It's more so used to vacuum someone when you already hit them into a predictable combo. CDK X breaks hockey, but it's better suited for an extender than an opener, really. And of course, Soul Guitar X, bread and butter opener, with the first few frames of the move breaking instant. We're gonna go over 2 quick fights against Selna Gums to talk about the concept of conditioning. Notice I start this fight off pretty aggressive. I get in his space, and he catches me lacking with Godhuman C and traps me in his Soul Guitar X. He's slow on the punish though since I was higher up, so I escaped with Portal X. I caught him with the exit, but missed my Portal Z completely. He jumps to the other side, and the prediction Godhuman X was a nice snipe, but following up is hard at this range. His hockey's down, so I Hail Mary a Godhuman Z, and it hits. I could chain this into something, but I opt for a rifle M1 instead, and he gets pretty low. I put pressure on him just being in his space since I have the HP advantage, but his Rumble moves are up, so I stay in Portal just in case I need to escape. Rumble X misses, so I stay on the attack and hit him with a Godhuman C, and I end the fight. Now remember, that whole time, I stayed pretty aggressive and jumped onto him, so I'm hoping he starts playing much more defensive and reactionary so I can bait his cooldowns and punish. This is textbook conditioning, where I try to encourage my opponent to play a certain way based off of my play, with the goal of making him play the way I want him to. In a tournament setting where we're talking best of 5 or first to 5, this is how you win the set. Game 2, he immediately burns both Rumble C and Rumble X, and that's perfect. Exactly what I want. He hits me with the tail end of Soul Guitar X, so I know CDK Z is coming. I hockey and Portal M1 out on reaction. Now I know all his moves are on cooldown. It's time for me to seal the deal as long as I can land this flash step into Portal X, bread and butter. And all of this is possible due to conditioning.
I see why that kills me.
Great combination of 2 fights with a lot of great concepts here. The concept of conditioning is huge in fighting games. It can be really useful in a tournament setting with PvP. But even more importantly, making sure you know cooldowns of your opponent's moves and you know their loadout. That way you know when you have the opportunity to jump on them and they have nothing they can do about it. Okay, this one is rough. Since we're on the topic of Rumble, let's cover my battle with LD, a 28 million bounty Rumble user who was one of the hardest fights I've had to date. He absolutely destroyed me, and you know what? Hold on. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. Before we get into that, I went into this fight completely blind. I was not familiar with any of his weapons and what any of his stuff did outside of Rumble, but you don't have to be unfamiliar because we're going to break his loadout down. So first things first, we're dealing with a Rumble user, so we know we have the same things that apply from Selna Gums to this fight. So he has a lot of different mobility options and he has a lot of openers, but they have a lot of startup lag. Outside of that, his loadout is Superhuman, Buddy Sword, and Kabucha. So a very non-standard loadout. Superhuman similar to Godhuman except the X is an AoE and the C is half the distance and insta pushes him back. Superhuman C is a great opener, charges and dashes, grabs them and punches them. Superhuman X is similar to Godhuman X if you charge it. It's an AoE attack. And Superhuman Z is similar to Godhuman Z, except it feels like it doesn't have as much of a distance, but still keeps them stunned. Now, Buddy Sword is a little bit different. Buddy Sword Z is an interesting move. It sends out a fire projectile, 9-second cooldown. The fire projectile keeps them stunned in a certain area and they're unable to move. And Buddy Sword X is a long-range snipe, 14-second cooldown, breaks hockey, very strong, does a good amount of damage, and so we need to be mindful of that. Kabucha is a really interesting move. The Kabucha Z sends out a fire phoenix that goes straight ahead and burns the target and leaves a burning trail. Last move is Kabucha X, 15 to 16-second cooldown, very long range, almost like a cylinder dragon that gets shot out, similar to Soul Guitar Z, but it kind of drags you along with the cylinder, and so it can kind of lead to a lot of combos, especially with the mobility of Rumble to get to where you'll end up in that Kabucha X. It's time to get into it. So LD absolutely destroyed me the first 2 rounds, but I noticed something. His playstyle was very long range, poking to get an opener, but also reacting to my moves and blowing his cooldowns, kind of similar to Selling the Gums. Anytime I got in close, he punished me with Rumble X, but I remembered the startup on his moves and how I could take advantage of that. So I'm mindful of all this going into this third fight here. So I stay aggressive because my goal is to bait out his cooldowns. I try to stay in his space and I get super aggressive and I jump on with Portal X and I catch him in a preliminary combo. Burns his Cyborg V3, that means I have 30 seconds to get a good combo on him. He burns his Kabucha X, so I can stay somewhat aggressive. Most of his gun moves are down and I get a lucky Acidum Rifle Z. And he drops his Rumble X. So Rumble X is down. Anytime I approach him, like with Portal M1, he's going to jump out. I get lucky in the Godhuman C. Rumble C is down, so most of his Rumble openers are gone. So I'm going to keep the aggression up. He burns all of his flash steps and his Rumble flash step. I have 10 seconds. I dodge the Kabucha X, flash step his Buddy Sword Z. His Cyborg V3 was back up, but at this point, he's so low, I could just finish him off with the bread and butter combo, predict him with the Portal Z into the dash, and GG's. I adapted. I was able to try to bait out his combos. I never really committed until I got a perfect opener, and my goal was to waste all of his cooldowns. As soon as I saw Rumble X and Rumble C out of his toolkit, as well as all of his flash steps, I knew at this point, he's on the ropes, and so all I have to do is just finish it off. Well, that's all I got for this video. I really enjoyed being able to take a topic like conditioning and apply it to a game like Blox Fruits. On top of that, I really just like taking something like Rumble and breaking it down in a way you don't really see on YouTube just yet. We're talking about cooldowns, different ways to counter it, and different tactics and techniques that they use. Remember, it's pretty much impossible to know every loadout at the beginning, but as you slowly take time to get to know more and more about the different abilities and fighting game concepts, apply it and you'll see yourself start to improve, I promise. I hope you're enjoying the series. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Remember, each video has a Perm Fruit giveaway where the winner picks a Perm Fruit of your choice. So to win, just leave a comment below and you're entered. And we'll see you in the next one.